here?
No. Every place.
Okay. So let's let's recap what we've done so far very quickly, because the last time the our session was rather challenging, conceptually challenging. There's a lot which we said. So if you guys are not fully kind of grasping it yet, that's totally fine. It's understandable. But I thought maybe we can just take some takeaways from it, the key takeaways, which we need to keep in mind, even if we haven't fully understood them yet, but let's at least know what they are. So the big thing that we learned was that there is something called Sat and something called Asat. The Sat is the substance and Asat is the form. The Sat is also called Satyam and Asat is also called Mithya. So Asat doesn't mean, Sat means something that exists. So the substance always exists. And form is something that is changing, which means the form always changes. There is no permanence to the form. There is no sthirta to the form. And when we think about the substance from the perspective of the world, from the cosmos external to us, we give it different names. We can call it Tatva. That's what Gita called it. You remember Tatva? Tattvadarshi. So Tatva is the substance. We'll go through that verse again because it's a very important verse. But just, it's called it Tatva. We can call it Brahman. People call it Brahman too. Brahman is the substance, the substrata of everything around us. We can call it Ishwar. If you remember, one time we talked about the material cause, that like the chair and the carpenter. And we said the wood is like Ishwar. The wood is the substance of the chair. So the carpenter brings the knowledge, the wood brings the substance. So we compared the wood to Ishwar. So we can also call it Ishwar. It's the same thing, substance. And when we think about it from ourselves, just us, we call the same substance, we call it Dehi. Gita called it Dehi. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
We can call it Atma. Or we can call it our self. Very often it's called myself. Self with usually a capital S. Myself, that is the self. So you'll see all these terms, but they all mean the same thing. The only difference is that when you look at it as that substance which is inside me, which is me, the real me, we call it Dehi, Atma, and Self. When we think about it as a substance which is of the world, what is this world made up of? Then we call it Tattva, Brahman, and Ishwar. And in our minds, we make a distinction between me, myself, and Ishwar. We think the world is separate, I am separate. And Vedanta's job and Gita's job is to remove this fallacy, that we are not separate. Our substance is the same. My substance is the same as Ishwar and Tattva and Brahman. My forms are all different. There is one substance, there are multiple forms. My body is a form. My mind is a form. My thoughts are forms. All these forms are different everywhere. You have your own form, I have my own form. And my form also keeps changing all the time. My thoughts keep coming and going, they keep changing. My body keeps changing. Everything that's a form keeps changing. Getting born, dying, all that happens in the form. But my substance, which is the real me, is not changing. So that was Sat. Then we also talked about Asat, which is the form. So the form is often called the Jagat. The Jagat is, the world around us. Or it's called the creation. Our bodies, thoughts, emotions, etc. These are all forms. And the other thing that we learned in that, what did it say? It said, Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha. That means that which is a sat, which is a form, it never has any being. Never. Whereas that which is the substance, which is the Sat, can never have any non-being. It doesn't say, it's, look at how it says it. It doesn't say the Sat has being. Because then you'll say, okay, the Sat has being today, tomorrow it may not have being. It says the Sat never has any non-being. It never happens that the Sat goes out of existence. And it also says, it doesn't say a Sat doesn't have being. Because then you'll say, oh, maybe, a Sat has being for a while and then it goes away. No, it says a Sat never has being. That means never is the form, does it have any independent existence. We think that the form has independent existence. We think that this body of mine, this body of yours, all the objects in the world around us have a being. They have independent existence. They exist on their own. That's what we think. But what Krishna Bhagwan is saying is that it never has any being. It never exists independently. The thing that is existing is the substance. It's a substance that is lending its existence to the form. Without the substance, there will be no existence. You cannot have a form without the substance. You can't say, okay, my substance, I don't know whether it's there or not. Forget about it. It's the form. The form should exist. The form never existed. It's always a substance that existed. So Sat is independently existent, never non-existent. A Sat is always depends upon Sat and is constantly changing. When we say being, like we tell people, don't you have your own being? Like, don't you have your own sort of independent perspective or point of view or existence? Don't you have any being? That's what it means. A Sat actually has no being. It doesn't have an independent existence. So this is what we learned last time. And I'm actually going to give you another example or take you through a little illustration to kind of give you a little better example of this. Okay. So the illustration that I find useful in this is the illustration of a movie. So I don't know, Meeta, what's your favorite movie? Or any one movie that you like. Doesn't have to be favorite. Don't think so hard. It doesn't matter.
Let's see.
Something which has a lot of excitement.
Lot of excitement.
Yeah.
Diplomat.
Huh?
Diplomat.
Diplomat. Okay. So Diplomat, let's say we are watching it not on TV, but we are watching it on a screen. That means we are watching it in a movie hall.
Okay.
So you're sitting and watching Diplomat.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine some scene, somebody is Diplomat. I think it's the movie in which there's a lot of gunfight going on, isn't there? Or maybe I'm mistaking it.
No, it's pretty new, season 2.
Okay. There's another British Diplomat movie in which there's a lot of gunfight. Actually, I think, sorry, I mistook it for a British movie called Diplomat, but who is a bodyguard, and the bodyguard goes through a lot of gunfights. But anyway, this movie is going on, and there are objects on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of emotion involved in the movie, right? Any movie, there'll be people who are friendly, people who are in love. You're immersed in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So think about a scene, Meeta, and tell me, what do you describe the scene? A nice scene that you can think of in the movie.
In Diplomat?
Yeah.
In Diplomat.
If I tell you, then I'll give the ending away, and I think other people are watching.
Okay, then don't give us the ending. Give us a different scene. Any like a 5-second clip.
Help me.
What's happening in the movie?
And she becomes the president. People are coming in. Army.
But that's the end.
Okay, whatever you want to say.
Okay. I can't think of any. Sorry.
Huh?
Kiki, help me.
No, it doesn't matter, yeah. Describe a scene. How does it start?
It starts with Kerry Russell becoming the ambassador.
Oh, I know what this movie is. Yes,
It's not a
I've seen
movie,
it.
it's a show. Yeah.
It's a show.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So he becomes the ambassador.
Right.
She becomes because it's the guy and the president tells her, you have to become the ambassador.
Yeah.
Something like that. She's forced into that ambassadorship.
Yeah.
And she goes to Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
But then
Okay.
we're getting off the rails in it too.
No. We're not getting off the rails. It's a very interesting movie.
Yeah.
So what do you see in that movie?
it's just fun. A lot of you live the movie or you live the show through her, through what she is experiencing, and it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you were
Yeah.
you're sitting in a cinema hall and
Mhm.
watching this, what are
Yeah.
you actually seeing?
I'm actually watching it on the screen. They're
Yeah.
acting. They're not there, but I'm
They're not there. I mean, the point I was trying to make was, although we, like Kiki said, we went off the rails a little bit because this Diplomat is an interesting movie. But when you're seeing it in a movie hall, you're actually only seeing the screen.
yeah.
You're not seeing anything else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But in reality, we forget the screen,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But what is actually happening is on the screen, there are various forms consisting of light
Yeah.
of different colors. So the light makes patterns and forms, and we see those.
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
what we are seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just using the eyes as an example, not the ears.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all we are seeing. We are
Yeah.
seeing, actually what is there is the screen.
Yeah.
What we are focusing on is the form,
Oh, right.
right?
Right.
Is there, like, let's say there's a lot of violence in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Does anything happen to the screen?
No.
Let's say somebody in the movie picks a bucket of filth and throws it to somebody else. Does the screen get dirty?
No.
Okay. Let's say someone sets fire to a house. Does the screen get on fire?
No.
Or if it's very cold in the Himalayas, there's a movie about the Himalayas, it's very, very cold. Does the screen start feeling cold?
No.
No, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a detachment between the substance and the form.
Mm-hmm.
And changes are happening to the form in the movie, but that thing is happening to the screen. Let's say in the movie, someone destroys a city, bombs it. The screen doesn't get bombed, the screen is the same.
Yeah.
And let's say the movie is done and you switch off the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's all black.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing has happened to the screen, it's still there, the same as it was.
Yeah.
You play a different movie, it's the same screen.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how, in a way, we work also. What we are, Bhagwan is telling us, is pure consciousness. We are just a blank screen of consciousness. On this blank screen of consciousness, things are playing, life is playing on the screen. Emotions of all kinds of happening. Things are happening. Different objects are coming and going, different thoughts are coming and going. But if there was no screen, none of this would be experienced. Like, can you experience a movie without the screen? Can you experience any movie or anything without the substance there? Like, imagine if you think about yourself, how you're feeling sad, you're feeling happy. Where is this experience happening? This experience of happiness and sorrow, where is it happening? What is the substrata to which this sorrow is happening?
To the form.
It's a
No.
form, but there has to be some substrata which is feeling it.
Your consciousness.
Your conscious, yourself, your Atma.
Mm-hmm.
That indescribable thing is called Atma. That indescribable thing is called the substance, the Dehi. And the discrimination that this Gita is trying to teach us is that we are actually confused. We cannot live without the Dehi. Everything is happening to the Dehi. The Dehi is the most important, the closest thing to us. It's the most intimate. But we never recognize it. We are always thinking about the things that are happening to the Dehi. We want those things to be pleasant. We want those things which are happening to the Dehi to be nice, all great. We want different experiences happening to the Dehi, but we are not cognizant of the Dehi.
So Nitu, the Dehi is one, right? I mean, all over. It's the same God, right? Which for me, it's all of us. So why did God create this world? What was the use? Was he just, and he or she or whatever this energy is, was he just entertaining himself?
Well, I mean,
What's
I
the,
think, look, I
I don't
mean,
understand.
there are different ways to answer this question. So, one of the Upanishads actually goes there and says it's like God's play, like God, Bhagwan ki Leela.
Mhm.
Some people say it's because it's a God sankalp. It's like a desire to experience. Because experience can only happen if there is separation. If there's a feeling of separation, can you experience anything? Because if there is no feeling of separation, you can't experience anything, right?
Mhm.
You can experience something if you don't have that right now, and then suddenly that happens to you, something that you don't have. There's a separation from somewhere outside, you experience it. But if you were everything and you are God, then there'll be no experience. So
Yeah.
some people say it's to create this, to create experience that God created this. So for example, I mean, in modern day example, think about like a video game. Not a video game which you're playing, but think about an artificial reality video game. You put on goggles
Mhm.
and you're playing in virtual reality.
Yeah.
So what have you done? You've created a separation. You've created a world around you. There's only one you, but you've
Mhm.
created a world in order to experience. We want to experience that game. So we created this. We created enemies. We created friends. We created strategies so that we can experience that.
So Nitu, it's also could be just transactional so that our karmas are done.
Yes, if you look at it, so see, there are two different ways to look at it. Either a transactional perspective or an absolute perspective. So right now I'm talking about the absolute perspective. We'll
Mhm.
go to the transactional perspective in a minute if you want. I mean, we can go there.
So,
But
you
the
know, I'm
point is, even a dream, you have to live out your emotions and feelings. So what do? You create a dream. You have some unresolved things that you have to live out. You create a dream. What do you create in the dream? You create a separate you. It's just you. You're creating a you, and you're creating the world around you in the dream. All of that is just you. Everything that you're creating, let's say in the dream, Mita, you see me,
Mhm.
right? That me is not really me. That me is in your mind.
Mhm.
But for you, it's a separate Nittu that you've created
Yeah.
because you need to transact with that Nittu. So you created that separation in yourself. Or if you create somebody else, you've created it in order to have an experience. You want to live a particular, there's an unresolved experience you want to live. In order to live it, you'll create a dream. In that dream, you'll create separation between different things so that you can actually express that experience. But nothing, nothing in the dream is separate from you. Nothing. Everything you create in the dream is in your mind. And in your mind, you've created this separation.
and generally you don't see yourself in dreams.
No, you don't see yourself just like you don't see yourself
Yeah.
now,
Right. You don't
right?
see yourself. Yeah.
It's not as if you have you know you're a third party and you're seeing yourself as one
Mm.
of the objects in the dream. No,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you're
Uh,
still the first person over there in the dream,
Need to
just like you're the first person now.
one more thing about Dehi. Dehi is their doesn't Dehi evolve also on the function of the experiences you're going through?
No, does the screen change on the function of the
Oh, it doesn't. Yeah,
experiences?
that's part. Yeah, it doesn't. So,
No,
so
Dehi does.
Dehi is just stays. I mean, it's just
It's
a.
consciousness.
It's
If Dehi
consciousness.
were to change, Tony Bhaiya, how would it experience?
Yeah.
Because if two things, let's say you have to experience if you have to experience motion, then you have to be at rest first to experience motion. If you're both moving at the same speed at the same time, let's say you and I are moving, we won't experience any motion.
Yeah.
For experience to happen, you have to be still. The thing that you experience has to be changing and moving. That's the basis of experience. And for
But wait,
experience to happen, you have to have ignorance. Without ignorance, there is no experience. If you knew everything already,
Yeah.
knew everything already, the future, the past, everything about everything, what would you experience? There's
Then-
nothing left to experience.
Yeah.
so wait, so then the form is doing the transactions and the form will change, but the consciousness will remain the same. Is that
Yes,
what you're
because
saying?
the consciousness, Dehi will never change.
Yeah.
It's the immovable screen which sees, against which all the experiences are being recorded, all the experiences can be experienced.
So when you're doing karma, for instance, good karma, and your next birth is supposed to be hopefully better, you're making
Yeah.
your bank account. So it'll be your form which will change in the next janma,
Yes.
but not the
See,
consciousness.
that's again, like I said, you have to be careful here
Yeah.
because there are two perspectives that we can look at. One is the absolute perspective, and the other is the transactional perspective.
Hmm.
So when you say, I am Dehi, then you are saying, I'm looking at the world from an absolute perspective. I am the screen. Karmas are happening. I don't care. Good karmas, good janam, bad janam, not affecting me. But this perspective is the ultimate perspective.
Hmm.
There is what we actually see is a transactional me. We don't think that I'm a Dehi. You can talk to, like, I would guess you sample 1,000 people around you, even in India. Maybe one will say I'm a Dehi, or I understand I'm a Dehi. 999, or maybe let's say out of a million, 999,999 would say, I am this body mind. Even if they say I'm Atma, they'll think I'm separate. I'm a soul, but I'm a separate soul. They wouldn't say, for them, Dehi would be a separate being, a separate soul. One might, who has read the Gita and understood it through a proper, teacher, might say, in a tradition, might say that Dehi is consciousness. So for understanding, for the rest of us, or when we are thinking in terms of, because we are not always thinking like this Dehi, to get us to that place, there is something called a transactional viewpoint that Gita or Vedanta has put together. In that transactional viewpoint, we still think about ourselves as individuals separate from each other. Only when we think about ourselves as separate from each other can we say, I'm doing karma. Otherwise, who are you doing karma to? I'm doing good to somebody else. I'm being a good person to somebody else. I've done a pap, I've done a pun. It's because you are thinking of yourself as a separate individual, separate from everybody else. So you are born, then tomorrow you'll be born in another loka, and another time in another lok. All that assumes that you are separate. Otherwise, how would you be born? Dehi is not born. Dehi is just there. It's Sat. It's neither born nor does it die. In fact, actually, the next few verses just say that exactly. It says it doesn't kill, it cannot be killed. It's never born. It's Aja, never born. It's Amritam, it doesn't die.
Nitu, what happens when you die? Does the
Who
Dehi
dies?
like, suppose I die. Okay, suppose I die.
Okay.
My Dehi will be able to exist independently, or does it go immediately into some other form?
See, your
Does
Dehi.
the soul exist
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. If you're going to say that my Dehi is consciousness, that so when you say my Dehi, this is it's going to happen, Nita. This confusion is going to happen for a long time till you get it.
Yeah.
When you say my Dehi, you're thinking that you are something and a Dehi belongs to you. It's like my body.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
that's
the
not what
thing
Gita
which
is
is in
saying.
my body.
No.
Gita is saying, I am the Dehi. So the Dehi has bodies. In fact, actually, the next two verses we'll go through, it says, Antavanta ime deha. It's saying this, the Deha, which belongs to the Dehi, that is me,
Yeah.
has an end. Okay? is subject to end.
The
So
Deha is
what
subject to
what
end.
Bhagavan Krishna is trying to tell you is, don't think of yourself as something separate and there's a Dehi which belongs to you. Think of yourself as the Dehi and there's a Deha which belongs to you.
Okay.
Okay? This is a very, very difficult
Yeah.
and counterintuitive thing. And it takes, ages to actually get there. Because abhi to you're just finding a conceptual difficulty. Even after you conceptually understand it, you will find emotional difficulties. Big emotional problems. To think of yourself as not this Nita who owns this lovely house, who has this beautiful family. Like, I'm not that Nita. I'm a Dehi. Then you'll say, am I just a Dehi? That's all? Till you realize that Dehi is actually everything. What you own and what you have is a small little substance that you're very happy with. But actually, Dehi is huge. It has no attributes. It may not seem like much to our mind right now, but it is huge.
So where do the karmas reside?
So now, I mean, remember that picture that we drew, that there's a three circles, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
We said in the middle of the circle is the Atma.
yeah.
Call it the Dehi.
Yeah.
Around it, there's one body called the causal body. Then after that is the subtle body. And after that is the physical body. We name these three bodies. पहले मैंने बताया था only subtle, सूक्ष्म शरीर and स्थूल शरीर. I only talked about the physical and the subtle. But then
Yeah.
later on, I also introduced a causal body, if you remember. If you go back, you'll see it. So the causal body is interior to even the subtle body. And the karmas reside in the causal body. When you die, so to say, or I die, anybody dies, our causal body doesn't die. Our Atma though definitely doesn't die because we are the Atma. There's no question of birth and death for Atma.
Yeah.
The causal body also doesn't die because it holds the karmas. And the karmas don't die. Karmas have to be fructified. So depending upon the body, certain karmas, they come forth to be expressed in the next lifetime. So they are all there. They are going with you. The subtle body also doesn't die. Because the subtle body is the mind and some of those chitta and all that. It's only the physical body that dies. And again, 5 verses down is the verse which says, where Bhagavan is saying, just as I discard old clothes for new clothes, when my clothes get old and worn, I throw them away and I grahan karta hu, I wear new clothes. Similarly, when this body, the physical body, is old and worn, I discard it and I adopt a new body. So,
It is,
Atma,
I get a new body, but
causal
with
body,
the subtle body and with the same subtle body
same
and
subtle body,
body.
same Atma, which of course, needless to say, but I'm just saying it. Same causal body, same subtle body, a different physical body. Subtle body is because, see, subtle body also is not the only time the subtle body is discarded is at moksha. Then the causal body is discarded in the moksha. What happens in moksha is, when you have liberation, when you know for a fact that you are the Atma, that you are not, you stop identifying yourself with any of these bodies. Causal body, subtle body, physical body. Right now we are identified with all three. We are identified with the physical body in a big way. We are identified with our subtle body. We think it's our minds. And we are also identified with the causal body because it's our karmas, my karmas, right? That I'm doing, my pap, my pun. So we are strongly identified with these three bodies. That is called samsari. We are a samsari. It's an incorrect, false identification. When we stop identifying ourselves with these three bodies, literally, you can stop identifying yourself with the physical body. You'll say, I understand, physical body chali jayegi, but I will move on to the next janam. That means you're saying, I am the subtle body and the causal body. Physical body can go fine. Next time I will be. And that's what we want to do. We keep saying, you know, okay, I know I will die, but in my next janam, like Meeta, you were saying last time, right? I want the same people around me. Or in the next janam, I want a happy janam. I want Swarg in the next janam. So we are then identifying ourselves with the subtle body. Because we are saying that subtle body travels now along with the causal body. And when it travels and finds the next body and the next loka, it should be in a good, happy loka. It should be in Swarg. So it's relatively easy, so to say, relatively, to disidentify ourselves with the physical body, but still say, I am the causal body. I mean, I am the causal in the subtle body. And that's what we have been, if you look at our culture, everywhere, people have been saying this to us. Agle janam mein ye hoga, agle janam mein wo hoga. Because they're all identifying with the subtle body.
So can you define the functionality of the subtle body and
I
the
will, but
causal
let me just
body?
finish what I'm saying. Huh?
Okay.
But the subtle body, but that is still not moksha. Moksha means identifying yourself with the Dehi, with the Atma. Then you see that all of these bodies, the physical, the subtle, and the causal, are forms. They will come and go. The moment that happens, you have that clear, like a totally resolved, totally clear understanding of that. Now you're no longer identified with any of these bodies. You will no longer be affected by anything in this world. It's not going to the reason that you created this world, which is for this experience, is gone. You can't experience, except what you'll experience is just peace. So that moment is called moksha. At that time, even the subtle body and basically the causal body is resolved. That means your karmas don't mean anything anymore. Because then you realize मैं किस पे कर्मा कर रहा हूं, कौन किसको कर्म कर रहा है, सारे तो एक ही हैं. कौन किसको पाप कर रहा है, कौन किसको मार रहा है, कौन किसको क्या कर रहा है. It's all the same thing.
Nittu, how do you live your life like that?
No, you're not living your life like that.
No
No,
happiness,
nobody.
no
That
sorrow,
is why.
boring.
That is why I'm saying that is moksha. I'm just describing something to you.
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
once you have that understanding, then you say that the causal body is resolved. If there is no causal body, there is no subtle body, and there is no physical body, and that's moksha. When you say ना इसका तो दोबारा से जन्म ही नहीं होगा, ये तो बहुत पहुंचा हुआ है, इसका जन्म ही नहीं होगा, इसको तो मोक्ष की प्राप्ति हो गई है. Ultimately, what that means is this: that person has stopped identifying him or herself with even the causal body. They are convinced that what I am is just dehi, atma. That's what means, and it doesn't mean you have to die for that. You can be living and have that. That's called jivan mukti. So I just wanted to make sure you understand this from a technical perspective. No, I mean, of course, there are lots of questions, but so Didi, let me just Didi was asking what is subtle body, right?
So causal body seems to me like that is what is carrying your karmas to the
Right.
next. And what is the subtle body's function?
The subtle body is your mind and the indriyas. You remember I sent you a video of this. It'll be good actually if you go through those things again because it'll help you. This time when you go through the same videos, you'll read a lot differently. You'll see everything a lot differently. Because you have a background now. So the words are going to make a different impact to you. So it's absolutely a great idea. That's why I created the video so that you can go through them again and again. Every time you go through it, you'll learn something new.
Yep.
So the subtle body is the mind and the indriyas, the senses, and the pranas. So the subtle body is the house where, everything, all our experiences happen in the subtle body. Because the physical body can't really experience. Physical body is just the eyes. Eyes don't really see. Right? So they all have to go back to all of them go back to the subtle body.
Got it.
Right? And the physical body is what you see.
Right.
Even your brain is the physical body. It's just, physical body is jada. That means it doesn't have life. When the subtle body, you can see it. The same physical body is full of life. But the same physical body in a moment, when the subtle body leaves it, is gone. There's nothing. It's dead. It's like matter. It's like that. The moment the pranas, which are part of the physical subtle body, leave it, the physical body is nothing. It's just it's just like dead
But
cells.
isn't the subtle body, when you say the pranas and the indriyas and all that, those are also forms, right?
Yeah. I've never said they're not forms.
Okay.
There's only
But
one substance, Didi.
there,
What's the substance?
what I mean is that they are
No.
not
First tell me,
alive.
what's the substance?
Substance is your dehi,
What is Dehi?
the atma
Yes. Everything else is a form.
form. So the
Everything
subtle,
else is not alive. Only the
right.
Dehi is alive.
So the subtle body is not alive. It
No.
is insentient, right?
Well,
Only the atma is the sentient portion that gives you the life.
yes. But what do we see around us? We see people, what we don't see subtle bodies around us, right? When we see death, we see the death of a physical body.
True.
We don't see the death of a subtle body. The death of the subtle body is moksha,
I get it.
right? So when the death of the subtle body means I'm no longer, I know that the Atma and I know that the subtle body is just a form. The actual existence, including what you call consciousness or life or whatever you want to call it, the actual consciousness is Atma. Atma is what is lending its consciousness across to all these bodies.
True.
When you know that, then you will see the subtle body as Jada. Right now, you're seeing the subtle body as alive.
Mm.
This phenomena is called mutual superimposition. We confuse, when you see a red hot iron ball, you see a red hot ball. You think that the iron is hot. If you don't know, actually the red hot iron ball is iron plus heat plus fire. But you see it red hot, so we think, oh, iron is hot. What we don't realize is that hot iron has a heat portion, which is the fire, an iron portion, which is just nothing, it's just cold. It's iron. Similarly, we see this mind. We see the mind as alive. What we don't realize is that this mind has two portions. One portion is the Atma, which is lending its, life to the mind, consciousness. And the
Right.
other portion is just matter. Just like physical body is matter, the mind is also subtle matter. It's a different kind of matter. We don't see it. Our thoughts do our thoughts have consciousness?
No.
No, right? Thoughts are just, but they are not, you can't see your thoughts, right? They are matter, they're made of something, right? They can't be nothing. After all, you
Right.
can actually, with the thoughts, you can create a whole dream. You can create the whole world in your dream. So there's something there. What is it?
Subtle form.
Subtle matter, right? So thoughts are also just subtle matter. What gives it life? What gives your mind life is Atma. Okay. Okay. So
Is the sorry, very
go
quickly.
ahead.
Is the reason that when you put Sat and you put Tatva Brahman Ishwar, is the reason that you didn't put consciousness there, which for me is the most immediately accessible word, because everybody has different interpretations of what consciousness is? Is that the reason you didn't put consciousness there for Sat?
I don't know. I mean, maybe that is the reason, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it's not usually called consciousness. I mean, it's called, basically, I was going to go next to it, which I was going to say was that the material of Sat. So actually hold that question, Kiki, because I'll answer it when I get there in a minute. Because consciousness is much more fundamental. So okay, so let's just anything else on this before we move on, because this is a lot. I feel like I'm saying a lot of things over the last two lectures, particularly, and you just have to. I'm going to leave it to you to do your homework, to just revise it, to go through it one time at least, if not more, so that you at least understand the concepts. Even if you have lots of other doubts, you know the names and the concepts properly.
I think that's very important to know these concepts. Otherwise, we can't understand things.
Right. And this is it. Pretty much, most of the concepts, the big ones are right here now. They
Mm-hmm.
kind of introduce all of them. But it's important for you to think about it. That's why they say repeated shravana is the most important thing. To repeatedly go back to your lessons and review them, or go to classes or listen, whichever way you do shravanam, whatever is your method, to do it, so that these are unfamiliar things, and you have to kind of make them familiar, right? It's like a new language. Okay. So now, one more thing I'll tell you, because Kiki also brought that up. What is this Sat? Sat is something which is never born, the substance, or Dehi. You can call it Dehi, Tatva, Brahman, Ishwar, Self, whatever. It's never born, never dies, always exists. And the way to describe it, one way in which Vedanta has described it consistently, is called Satchitananda. Have you heard about the word Satchitananda?
Yep.
Meeta, have you heard?
I have, but I don't know what it means.
That's okay. Tony Bhaiya and Kiki, of course, but Tony Bhaiya, have you heard?
No.
Satchitananda?
No.
Satchitananda is the way, is a sort of an indicatory description. It's not a description, it kind of indicates what this Sat is, what the substance is, Brahman is. It's, when you talk about Brahman, you say Satchitananda Brahman. So Sat, there are three words in Satchitananda. Sat, which it's substance. We just talked about it. It's right there in the screen in front of you. Chit.
What?
Chit means consciousness, that Kiki was talking about. Not the consciousness that we know as I am conscious. It's the consciousness which is the electricity. We talked about the electricity once.
Yeah.
We said, how do all these things operate? How does the fan come to life? When you run electricity to it. How does our body come to life? When we run consciousness through it. This consciousness is there in everything, everywhere. Even animals have consciousness. It's the electricity which is running through the whole universe, which
Isn't
is
that the same
moving
as
the universe. Huh?
that electricity is not the same? I thought that was the same as Atma.
Yes. Yeah. So Chit, so Sat Chit Ananda means Chit. So we are describing Atma. Satchitananda is Atma.
Okay. Mhm.
Brahman is Atma. I told you all these 5, 6 names I have there, they're all the same.
Mhm.
So electricity is Atma.
Mhm.
So it is Sat. That means it exists. It's a
Okay.
substance.
Mhm.
It is Chit.
Mhm.
It's the electricity, the consciousness. And the third important thing, it is Ananda. Ananda here means, it doesn't mean Anand like the normal day-to-day pleasures of life. It
Mhm.
means the ultimate Anand, which is a feeling of complete fullness.
Mhm.
Ananta is a better way to describe it. Limitless.
Mhm.
So the third thing about this Dehi or this Atma is that it is without limit. It has no limits. Anything that you can think of, Atma is already there. Back to your screen example. On your screen, you can see, sometimes you see a very small animal close up in a movie. The screen is small enough to hold it. You can even see a description of an atom. If you're watching Nova or other science movies or that like, they'll describe an atom. The screen is small enough to hold it, to see it. Sometimes they show the whole universe. The screen is large enough for that. Of course, that's a bad example in a way. But anything that you can conceive, anything that you can think of, Atma is there. In other words, it doesn't have dimension. If you think of the largest possible thing, Atma is larger than that. Because you can think of it, you can experience it, you can think of it. Atma is the one who experiences it, right? Who gives it that that life in order to experience that ability. You can think of the minutest thing. And Atma is more subtle than that. Subtle than the subtlest, larger than the largest. That means it is actually without dimension. Even space that you think of as endless space, nothing there, is thought of in Atma. So Atma is subtler than even space. So that's what Ananta means.
Atma, right? There is only one Atma with all these different forms.
Where all these different forms appear. To whom all these different forms appear. Yes, there is only one Atma. So Atma will be bigger than any biggest form, because it is in that the form appears. And Atma will be smaller than the smallest form, because in that is where the form is appearing. You can't have Atma, a form which is smaller than the Atma. Where will it appear? Or you can't have a form which is bigger than the Atma. All these things we are talking about, dimension, measure, time, these are all forms. These are all thoughts.
So you can't measure Atma.
What will you measure it with?
Yeah.
It's like, can you measure Atma? No. Who will measure the Atma? It's like saying to the guy who's in the screen, who was the diplomat hero, Mita? Russell, Kurt, no.
Gary Russell.
Okay, yeah. So you're telling him, can you please tell me if the screen is black or white? Can he? He can't. What does the screen look like on which you are being shown?
Blank.
Right. So it's like that. You can't, how can you? So that's why it's indescribable. But that's what the beautiful part of all this is that that's what you are. Right now, that's what you are. It's not like you're something else and you have to reach that Atma. That Atma is what you are. It's because you're experiencing. How do you know? Because you're experiencing right now. You're experiencing everything around you. And all you need to do is to find out who is experiencing. Once you realize that everything is being experienced, you're at Atma. You know, okay, I'm Atma. It's completely accessible. When you think about it as Dehi, it's completely accessible. When you think about it as Brahman, it's like, oh my God, where is it? It's like totally inaccessible. So they say actually, Brahman gives you a sense of its scale. And Atma gives you a sense of its nearness.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Okay. Let's quickly go through some shlokas. Okay. And really, I wish I could make this more interesting for you. Carol used to tell us, she said Swami Dayanand had this skill. He was a great teacher. He said unki class mein na, he used to crack jokes. And these kids, they used to be in laughter, peals of laughter all the time. And when the mind is so open and you're completely relaxed and you're laughing, then he used to drop a concept. And people used to get it.
Me too, you're a great teacher.
No, I have not. No, I
Don't
know very well
underestimate that.
my limits.
No, that's true.
But he was, that's what a good teacher is, Just everybody was relaxed, happy, in a perfect position to receive. And then he used to drop it off with a nice example. Anyway. Okay. So my recommendation to you is this particular shlok. Just learn this line. Ratalo Beshak. It's a very simple line. And remember it because it's the heart of the Gita. It says, Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah. That which is real, which is your Atma, which is you, will never cease to exist.
Will never.
That which is unreal, which is everything else, will come and go. It may not give you any solace right now because we are completely attached with the things that come and go. And we have no conception of Atma. So what do we care if Atma is there or not? We are just bothered about the things that I am attached with right now. But this is, it will have a lot more meaning as you begin to slowly understand what you are. Then it will give you a lot of solace.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's go through this. I'm going to go through, I'll speak it out and then you just follow best you can. Okay.
Can you expand it? Can you take out the one on the left? Maybe we can read it a little bit better. If you can take out just make it. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
No, I'll do it.
Actually, if you pinch it, it gets bigger. You can read it.
If you just
And then you just pinch
Oh,
this
yeah,
thing.
okay, got it,
Yeah,
got it.
and that will enlarge it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
very good, Rupa.
It was on the
Nini,
phone.
I think Nitu had said it once in the lecture.
Chalo.
Yeah.
कौन सा
Okay,
book
so
is that?
just speak after me.
Okay.
Na sato vidyate bhavo,
Na
Sato
sato vidyate
vidyate
bhavo,
bhavo,
na bhavo vidyate sataha,
na
bhavo
bhavo
vidyate
vidyate
sataha,
sataha,
ubhayorapi drishtantas,
ubhayorapi
ubhayorapi
drishtanta,
drishtanta,
tvanayos tattvadarshibhihi,
Tvanyos
tattvadarshibhi.
darshibhihi. So na sato vidyate bhavo, that which is not real has never any being. Na bhavo vidyate sataha, the sataha, which is the real, never has a non-being. Ubhayorapi, of both of those, ubhayorapi anyoho, anyo means, ubhayo anyo means, for both of those, drishtaha are seen, antaha, the end truth, the real truth is seen by the tattvadarshi. Tattvadarshi means by the tattvadarshi. So tattvadarshi are those people who are able to discriminate between what is real and what is not real, who are able to see the substance and able to differentiate it from the form. That's a tattvadarshi. That means people who've reached moksha, people who are jnanis. They know that there is an Atma, it really exists, and it is the truth of everything. They know it. That's a tattvadarshi. Right? So दोनों ये ना सतो और सतो, सतह एंड ना सतह, इन दोनों का जो अंत है, उन दोनों का जो ट्रूथ है, जैसे वेदांत होता है ना, अंत, the last reality of it, drishta is seen by the tattvadarshi.
Can you repeat that word again, please?
Which
How
one?
to pronounce the drishto, ubhe roop.
So it's actually drishtaha, but because of sandhi, it becomes drishto.
Yeah, drishto.
Ubhayorapi drishtontas.
Wait, ubhayorapi drishtontas.
Yeah, this S जो है ना बीच में, this is ignore it.
Okay.
It just says that पहले यहाँ पे अ होता था, वो अ निकाल दिया है.
Drishtontas.
त्वनयोस् तत्वदर्शिभिः.
Drishtontas.
त्वनयोस् तत्वदर्शिभिः.
Tvanayos.
Tvanayos. There are two different words. Tvanayos is one word. Tattvadarshibhihi is another word.
What does Tvanayos mean?
Tvanayos is actually Tvanyoho. There was a visarg. When you combine the visarg with any word which begins with a t, it becomes a s. Okay, this is a sandhi rule. So it's actually what it is ubhayoho, anyoho. So ubhayoho means both, anyoho means these. So of both of these, what are the two things? Sataha and asataha. So of both of these two things, drishtaha is seen, the antaha drishtaha, that means the end is seen by the tattvadarshibhihi. The end knowledge means basically the Tattvadarshi can see what is real and what is not real. Then let's go to the next one now. So the next one is Avinashi tu Tatvidhi. Bolo.
Avinashi tu
Tatvidhi.
Yena sarvam idam tatam.
Yena sarvam midam tatam.
Vinasham avyayasyasya.
Vinasham
Avyayasyasya.
avyasya
Na kashchit kartum arhati.
na
Kashtik
kartum
kartum
arhati.
arhati.
Avinashi means that which cannot be destroyed. Tu is just whereas. Also, some tu is just a preposition. Tad vidhi. Know. Know that. Tat is that. Vidhi means know. It's telling you to know. Arjun ko Krishna Bhagavan keh know that. You know, he's giving him a command. Can know that in a way. Tat vidhi yen sarvam idam titam. Yen means by what? By which? Sarvam idam, all this, tatam, is pervaded. So know that by which everything here is pervaded. That means Brahman or Atma or Dehi as avinashi, as indestructible. Know that as indestructible. So what is everything pervaded by? Brahman, right? Or substance. And that is avinashi. It cannot be destroyed. This is saying the same thing in a different way. Vinash, ab now bolo. Vinasham avyayasyasya.
Vinasham avyasya.
So Vinasham means the destruction. Avyayasya asya. Avyayasya means that which cannot. Avyaya is something which cannot be changed. So avyayasya means of that which cannot be changed. Asya is this. So of this unchangeable thing, which is the substance, Vinasham, the destruction, na kashchit kartum arhasi. Koi nahi kar sakta. Kashchit means anyone, someone. Na kashchit, no one can destroy this substance. And here, one of in the commentaries, Swami Dayanand says that basically he says that Shankaracharya says even God cannot destroy. Even this Ishwar that you think cannot destroy the self or this Tattva. He doesn't mean that, that God is not powerful or enough or anything like that. He's saying even God can't, because God in our mind is just a form. God is also another form. The reality of this God that we've created as a form is also this Tattva. So it just be a fantastic form, but it's still a form. Because there is only one Tattva. There is no God separate from the Tattva. There is a God and there is a Tattva. Or you can just say Ishwar. Ishwar is another name for Tattva. So koi nahi isko destroy kar sakta. Then the next one. Okay, so repeat after me, okay? Antavanta ime deha.
Antavant ime deha.
Nityasya oktaha sharirinaha.
Nityasya
Sharirinaha. Anashino prameyasya.
Anashino prameyasya.
Tasmat yudhyasva bharata.
Tasmadhyasva bharata.
Okay, so antavanta here means that which is subject to end. So vanta is a plural form of van. जैसे कहते हैं ना धनवान, जिसके पास धन है, धनवान, right? So अंतवान would be जिसके पास अंत है, जिसका end हो जाएगा. Antavanta is plural form of that. So antavanta means that which is subject to end. Ime deha, these dehas. So he's describing these dehas in plural form, not dehi, deha, जो हमारे शरीर हैं. These are subject to end. जो हमारी body है, it's subject to end. Nityasya okta sharirinaha. Nityasya means of that which is nitya. Nitya means forever, is eternal. So of these, Nitya Sharirinaha is another name for Dehi. So people say, Okta means they say. Okta is just like they say, it's just a way of saying it. They say that of this eternal Dehi, which is Anashinaha, cannot be destroyed, Aprameyasya. Aprameyasya means, Prameya means an object that can be known through a pramana. Aprameyasya means of this object, of the something which cannot be known. This Dehi can't be known by another form, right? A screen can't be known by the actors. So of this Aprameyasya, that which is not an object, Anashina, which cannot be destroyed, Nitya, which is eternal, of this Sharirinaha, of this Dehi, Antavanta ime Deha. These Dehas, there's only, he said all this in singular. Nityasya, Sharirinaha, Anashinoha, Prame, all singular. There is only one Dehi. Of this one Dehi, there are many Dehas, which are Antavanta, which are subject to destruction. Get it?
Sharir is body, right?
Sharirinaha, sorry.
Deha is body.
Yeah, Deha is body. Sharir is
These
also
bodies. So of this Sharirinaha, which is Dehi. Sharirinaha is another name for Dehi. So of this one indestructible, unknowable, eternal Dehi substance, there are many Antavanta Deha. There are many bodies which are destructible, which are subject to it. So I was trying to say, this is what Meeta was saying. I was talking to Meeta, right? Earlier about it. Meeta said, oh, so what about my Dehi? My Dehi is like this. He's trying to say, no.
Is one Dehi.
Yeah, it's not the Deha which is saying my Dehi. It's the Dehi which is saying, I have many Dehas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the Deha belongs to the Dehi, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
The Dehi doesn't belong to the Deha. It's only because we think that I am this Deha that we think I have a Dehi. Okay? So that is what he's trying to say in this verse very nicely, that this Nityasya Okta Sharirinaha, Nityasya means of the, it's a genitive sixth case. It means of the, it's a possessive case, he's saying, of this Dehi, these Ime Deha. He's saying that these Dehas are of the Dehi. They belong to the Dehi. He is making it very clear who's the master and who's the slave.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the owner and what are the objects. He's making it very clear. He's
But
setting the
normally,
hierarchy properly for you.
Normally, sharir refers to body, right? But sharirin,
Sharirinaha here, shariri. It's not sharir, it's shariri.
shariri,
Just
shariri.
like deha and dehi,
Oh, I see.
sharita and shariri.
Gotcha.
So this is shariri.
So Dehi for female or male is still Dehi,
Yeah, it's just, there's only dehi, one dehi,
Dehi.
without gender.
but Deha becomes Sharir. I previously understood Deha as the male and Dehi as the female.
No.
Deha is the body or the
Mhm.
form.
Mhm.
And
In
there's
Sanskrit, any
only
word that
one-
ends with a a, big a, with an a ki matra, is actually feminine. Roughly speaking,
Mm.
generally speaking. Okay. Should we call it a day? Or, I mean, I can keep going. These two shloks, by the way, are borrowed from almost exactly from Kathopanishad. But it just shows you how Upanishad and Gita are very. Gita has said it's like the milk of the Upanishads. So this we can do this next time. I mean, it's basically a repetition. Let me just tell you quickly what it is. It's saying ya enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. That means anyone who thinks or knows this enam, this Atma, as hantaram, as the killer, or anyone who thinks it is killed, hatam. Both of them don't know, na vajanito, na ayam hanti na hanyate. This Atma can neither kill nor can it be killed. That's what it's saying. So the Atma is not, you can't kill it. So if you're going to kill Bhishma, you're not killing Bhishma's Atma. Arjun. Then again, the same thing here. This is an important, very well-known shlok. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha. So na jayate, jayate means born. It's never born, it never dies, mriyate. Ever. Nayam bhutva bhavita va. Nor is it that it was there, it was existing and now in the future it will not exist. Not like that. Ajo, unborn. Nityaha, eternal. Shashvataha, ayam purano, without parts, without destruction, not unchangeable. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. This does not, when the hanyamane sharire, when the sharir is dying, or when the sharir dies, this does not die. He's like just saying it in these many words. You don't have to, it's not like he's leaving anything to imagination. He's like saying all these things. It doesn't die when the sharir dies. Okay, so let's stop for now.
I thought this will get easy, but it's getting more difficult.
No, it will. See, because we are talking about, we are still continuing with our first lesson. We are not, see, I told you right in the beginning that there is one Atma.
Yeah.
And it cannot be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Now what you're doing is, it's becoming difficult is because initially you're not thinking. You said, okay, you just took it. I'll file it away somewhere. Now you're saying, I'm not filing, let me explore. So you're actually beginning to think about it. But it does get easy. I mean, chapter 2 is, like I told you, it's the summary, the saransh of the Gita. All of it. So chapter 2 has some really very well-known and powerful verses. And, the reason why he has chapter 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 18 is because he understands that nobody is going to get it by just chapter 2. So you'll get part of it. But then he will again say it in chapter 3. And in chapter 3, he will say it in a much more, with more detail, with more easier steps for you to follow. It's in chapter 4 and so on. So it will keep, at the end of the day, if you fully understand chapter 2, you basically understood the Gita. But tell me more, like what, maybe, I don't know, maybe I can make it easier somehow, but what is really...
No, I mean, you have to concentrate too.
Tell me more about what is in your mind.
No, you give wonderful examples, which makes it easy. So,
Okay.
you do a great job.
No, but
But
talk about it. What other questions or
like
anything
you
else?
said, I think we need to re-listen again and again to really get it.
Yes, you need to re-listen.
Yeah.
Because this Atma is not an easy concept to understand.
Yeah. But Nitu, has it affected your way of living?
I think so.
In which way?
Oh, actually, oh shit. I thought I'm going to take you through one little exercise that I want you all to do.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can just spend 10 minutes. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a very interesting meditation, very simple meditation, which is going to help. It helped me. And that meditation is, take 10 minutes sometime when you're free. Just sit down and close your eyes if that helps you. And notice what are the thoughts that are coming to you. In fact, this is a meditation you can do daily and it will be very helpful. Just notice the thoughts coming to you. So for instance, if right now you just sit down and close your mind, close your eyes, maybe a lot of thoughts about the Gita are coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand this deha, dehi. I don't know what that is. Just let them be. Your job is to observe these thoughts, not to be a judge. You're not required to judge your thoughts. Sometimes very evil thoughts will come to my mind. I hate that person. I'm going to kill him. Let it go. Sometimes very loving thoughts come. Sometimes very unrealistic thoughts come. Just observe them. And what you will find over time is that you can observe your thoughts. You can see when a new thought has come in. You'll see when the thought is there, and you'll see when the thought is gone. And another thought is coming. Just this simple 10 minutes of being able to observe your thoughts is going to be immensely beneficial, because it will begin to create a distance between you and your thoughts. That distance which already is there. It's the first step to a little detachment. So do this during the course of this week, when we meet next. Just spend 10 minutes doing this little exercise without judgment. Okay? Imagine you are the consciousness and the thoughts are coming to you in your field of consciousness. Okay?
That's a type of meditation,
It's a meditation,
right?
a
That's
simple
what
meditation.
Nisha says,
Yeah.
right? When she does that meditation with you. So
There are many different meditations. This is just
Yeah.
a simple meditation.
Mhm.
It's a Buddhist meditation actually, but I found it very useful, very nice.
It's called
Because slowly,
mindfulness. It's called mindfulness. Mindful.
yeah, insight meditation, yeah, mindfulness.
Mhm.
I mean, there are. I think, Kiki, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are many different kinds of mindfulness meditations too.
Yeah, there is a dualistic mindfulness and then there's a non-dual mindfulness. But what you're describing, where you keep stepping back, where you observe and then step back more and more, you don't, yeah.
It's a dualistic mindfulness.
You can do it in a dualistic way, but finally when you step back and you become that screen that you described, and even your notion of you realize that that is also another thought, then it becomes non-dualistic.
Okay.
But anyway, I think I also will second what Nittu said. That is, I find it I do it every day also, and I find it very useful to just see that our entire experience is consciousness and its objects. The objects are thoughts, feelings, emotion, whatever it is.
So you don't focus on an object, you're not focusing on an object, you're just doing it as a screen on yourself and letting the thoughts flow.
Right.
Meaning you're not focusing on an object.
Any
It's not
object, yeah.
object based.
You don't want to get attached to any thought.
Mm-hmm.
Let the thought come and go. If you find yourself getting attached, then pull yourself back. Remember that you are just the screen of consciousness.
No, I mean, it's tough to pull yourself back, right? But you're saying,
No,
let
it's
the
not.
thought come
It's
and
not
go.
tough. It's just when you remember that when you realize that you are being attached, then you just pull yourself back. It may take 5 minutes, it may take 10 minutes, and you're in a reverie, and you forget. After 10 minutes, pull yourself back.
You
There's
know,
no.
Tony's cousin, whenever we get together with her, she does that. She does this exercise, and she says, I mean, basically she does the mindfulness. But I've seen many people fall asleep during that time.
Yeah, ठीक है. When you wake up, then you go back to it.
Actually, that's pretty good, because then that means you're free of all thoughts.
No, it just means you're tired. That's
No.
why you went to sleep.
To me, it means that you're not thinking of anything. And when you can fall asleep easily, that's when your thoughts are gone. That's what the object is, right? to rest?
No. The object is not for your thoughts to go. The object is for you because your thoughts will never go.
I know the object is to separate yourself from the thoughts, but the point is that that's a very nice, blissful state.
Yes. I mean, if you fell asleep, then enjoy it and wake up next time, and maybe
Yeah.
do it, maybe do it when you're not so sleepy.
And why does it help by separating the thought? What does it do?
What it's doing is it's giving you a practical insight into all that we talked about just now. That the thought is a form. Even all your feelings are a form which are coming and going against consciousness. You can actually see it, rather than just believe what is being said. You get an intuitive sense for it. That it's true, You may still feel, you may still forget about it when you leave from the meditation session. You go out in your life, you'll again be back to normal. But at least for those 10 minutes, you got that experience. That'll stay with you. This will become a little bit more real for you.
Right.
Yes.
See what happens.
I think, Tony Bhaiya, it's so instinctive for us to think without knowing that we're thinking and identify ourselves with the thought. I am that thought. And so I think what this does is become aware of a thought that is coming in and going and just.
So does it help you deal with new situations that come about because you can separate it a little bit? Or meaning how does it anyway?
Yeah, how does it give
Finally,
you
it's knowledge.
contentment?
Finally, it's going to leave. I mean, Nitu, you can speak to that.
No, I was going to say absolutely it helps you because I mean it helps me because somewhere in the back of your mind, you know that there is a separation between you and this event which is happening, and gradually you can actually say, I don't need to react to this. I can, your meditation, the muscle memory that you built during meditation will come to bear then, and you will say, okay, I am okay to not react to this. This is just another thing happening in my consciousness. So that's a low-hanging fruit of this meditation. Easy fruit. And many people do it for that reason. Many people do it for to calm their anger, to they do it for a very simple. This is the reason why they do meditations, to calm themselves down, to react better in different situations. But of course, in Gita, the end goal is much higher.
Yeah.
It's not just about how to react. So the Gita mein jo chapter 2 ka second part hai na, which we will do, I don't know when, we will probably in another 2-3 sessions. That is called Karam Yoga. And that is dealing exactly with this. How do you deal day-to-day life? How do you make it better? So that you remain peaceful more and more during the course of your day. You deal better with people and everything around you. So that your mind is peaceful. And the reason they want to say the mind is peaceful, for its own self, it's very good. But also because then your mind is more receptive to understanding Sat and Asat, to understanding the difference between real and unreal. For both those reasons. And actually, most of Gita, जो लोग जानते हैं, वो कर्म योग को ही जानते हैं. When they think about Gita, they think about this only. How do I relate better?
Yeah.
But Gita is not just about that. It starts with all this that I've just shown you. Okay.
Very good.
Chalo. Okay, we call it a day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.